It's been a while since I've actually shown you my fish house, and it does change a lot between those times. I have got lots more fish. I've changed the complete system over to saltwater, and I've also got a brand new species of macroalgae I don't think many of you have ever seen before. I think one of the biggest changes is this fluval shaker tank. It is really coming along now. Believe it or not, it's almost 2 years old. Time has flown by. When I put this little Kenya tree in there, it was a speck, a little couple of sails on a rock of Kenya tree, and now look at it, it's all over the place. But one of the biggest changes to this tank is actually the livestock that are inside of it. The keen-eyed, regular viewers amongst you will know what has changed, but we can see I've actually moved my regular clownfish over into this tank. The reason being, I like the black clownfish, but they didn't really give much colour to the tank. And thankfully, they've also hosted this anemone, which is actually really cool. I wasn't expecting them to actually host this anemone. I thought they'd just ignore it like most of these tank bred clowns do, but they've taken to it really well. So next step, possibly they might start breeding. Of course, none of those eggs and baby clownfish are going to survive in this tank, but it's a nice thing to have going, isn't it? There's also a cool fish hiding down here. One of my most favourite fish types in the marine hobby are these goatfish. I'm going to put some food in here, try and lure them all out, because there's another one in here which just tends to hide. Now I feed this tank flake food. You wouldn't believe it, but my long-nosed butterfly eats flake food. It's possibly the only flake food eating long-nosed butterfly in existence. He came from when I used to work in the aquatic shop, so I knew he would eat flake before I brought him home. The other fish that's in here is a trigger, a Niger trigger, which is the blue trigger. Unfortunately, he's really shy, and I bought him because he was really active in the shop, and then since I put him in this tank, he just doesn't come out. Unlike this amazing goatfish, look how cool he is. I love goatfish because of their little feelers at the front, and this one has like a red and yellow colour. I don't even know what their proper name is. If anyone knows what the proper name of the little tentacly things at the front of this fish are called, leave a comment below. But oh, look how wicked they are. So the trigger, he's not come out. It might be because I have cleaned this tank today, and that's probably why he's not come out. But that is why I have two of them, because if we look in this tank, we can see more fish that I have added. And in the back there, you can see a lovely blue trigger, and this one's way more friendly. Under this blue fluorescent light, he is really popping, isn't he? I love him. We have also got, he's a little bit nippy, isn't he? He's nipping at things there. I think it's just food anxiety because they're waiting for their dinner. The auto feeder's going to go off soon, I think, so he's just staking his claim to the food that comes out of there. There's also a rather expensive fish in here, a koi wrasse. Now he's been in there a few months, and he's normally not that shy, but as soon as you put a camera on a fish, they hide, don't they? That's just the way they are. But yeah, this koi, he's one of the fish that I've wanted for a long time. Now he was about 150 pounds, but if you think about where they come from and the size of him, you know, that's well worth the money in my opinion. But oh, just on cue, he's done a lovely poo. Wonderful. There's the other trigger. It has come out. Well, now it's gone again, but the reason I've got two of them is because I bought this one, put him in here, never saw him for 2-3 weeks, and I thought, well, he's probably just gone into the rock work and died or something. So I bought another one, which is in that sump, way more active, as you can see. And the literal day that I bought that one reappeared. So, so there you go. Sod's law, I've now got two of these triggers, which I don't mind because they're awesome. Another fish that I've got, which is really new, not new to me, but one that I've wanted for a while, and is actually, I think, quite unusual. They're not ones that most people keep in their tanks. It's a Singapore angel. They look like the half-black, so look how shy he is at the moment. But they're actually, as far as I'm aware, Singapore angels are more reef safe than a half-black. I also prefer their personality. Once they get more used to your tank, they'll be more at the glass like this, but they're a bit bit finicky, a bit shy. He's not quite sure of me. I'll put some food in there and we can see if we can lure him out as well. So I'll stick some food in there. He's getting tamer. The mollies obviously know what the score is. Ah, there he is, look. So I like these Singapore angels, as I've mentioned, because of their personality. But I also think they're a nicer colour than the half black angels. You can't quite see it on this video, but they get these really bright blue lips, which you don't really get, or you don't get at all on the half black. And I think their overall sort of yellow, black and white coloration is nicer. So it's in nicer proportions than the half black. So that's my reasoning. Also, they're a bit more unusual. They're hard to find ones that feed and that come in good condition. A lot of the time these Singapore angels, they don't come in very well. Their survival rate, as far as I know, isn't great. So finding one in this condition, of course it's from my local fish shop, Taunton Marine Centre. He knows what he's doing, so he brings in only the best stuff, looks after it like a VIP, and that's why we get the best fish from him. So make sure to visit him if you're in the Somerset area. Yeah, wonderful little fish. And while we're in this tank, I can show you my new macroalgae. Now this one I only purchased about 2 weeks ago, and it's Caulerpa webiana, or webiana, however you want to pronounce it. And it honestly is not one that I've ever managed to see before. Let me just try and get it into focus. So this is not a species that I've ever seen before, other than this one time on eBay 2 weeks ago. And there was a guy selling it, and I thought, I absolutely have to give this a go. It wasn't cheap. I think I paid him £20 for about this amount, and it's actually doing really well. He shipped it really well. It was in a pot of water, next day delivery in a poly box, so you can't get much better than that. But what's interesting about this is the fact that it's got its normal sort of stolon, which is the stem bit, but the fronds are cylindrical but also furry. It's kind of hard to describe it. You can see what I'm trying to say though. They're very unusual if you compare it to what we're used to, like Taxifolia. They're very blade-like. Caulerpa prolifera, which is like the grassy one. It's a very unusual looking macroalgae, and as far as I'm aware, this is also from Singapore. I googled the species and it apparently lives off the coast of Singapore. So very fitting that we also have a native resident in there. I imagine the Singapore angel comes from a very similar place to Caulerpa webiana. So brilliant coincidence. It's almost a Singaporean biotope in here now, which I think is awesome. So people have asked me a lot about these mangroves. I did a video a while ago where I hacked up 4 mangroves and planted them in this tank. Took all their roots off, took some of the leaves off. One of them I absolutely just took everything off just to see what would happen. And here we are, look, there are 4 healthy mangroves. They've all regrown their leaves. You can't really see it because it's under all this algae here, but they've all regrown their roots and they're growing leaves and they're growing healthily. So just goes to show that a mangrove can be very much abused if you want to, and they'll grow back as long as the environment's correct. They've got the right lighting, they've got the right sort of salinity and nutrients in that water. They will absolutely grow back. If you do buy a mangrove, it's got a broken root or a ripped off leaf, don't worry because it will grow back. But bear in mind, this is after about, where are we, probably getting on to almost 8-9 months from when I did that. So it's taken a while to recover, but it has. They all have recovered, and there is the proof. And moving on from mangroves, but then back to mangroves, we're looking at this tank, or this system of tanks. Now, it might look disgusting, and it is a bit, but it's only been running for a month. And this is all salt water. So this used to be my freshwater floating plant system, but I've switched it over to salt water because it made more sense. I needed somewhere to store my mangroves, possibly grow some Cheeto in here as well, but I don't know how well that's going to go. Now, it's very much cycling. It's very much, you know, in the ugly tank stage, which is why there's hair algae everywhere. You know, it looks gross, but don't read too much into that, because as we know, as a marine system matures, this hair algae will disappear, the good stuff will appear, and it'll probably end up being a very, very clean, low nutrient system. We can already see that happening over here, because where there is more flow on the downpipe, we've got coralline algae growing. So that's a good sign. That means that the system is healthy and is maturing. And there are amphipods and copepods moving around. You can just about see one centre of the screen now, although he is not moving. So that shows that there's all the little bugs and critters in here that we need to get this system running. And I would imagine within 6 months, this will be a nice healthy marine system. It's just a simple bottom to top system, so there's a pump in there, just flows up the top, and then it all runs down. There's no filtration other than the rock and the mangrove. So nice little experiment, and we'll see how this one develops as well. So that's the update. I hope you've enjoyed it. You can see that this fish house is developing very, very nicely. It's just under 2 years since I set it up, and that is the kind of time frame that you need to look at with marine tanks. As we all know, marine tanks are not a quick thing. They do take time, but patience pays off. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like, and also subscribe to my channel if you are not a subscriber already. Once again, thanks for watching, and happy fish keeping.